Goes on. Do 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 do. Ba da ba ba ba. Oh damn. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, I think we're live already. So there we go.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. I believe we're in episode 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Phew. Alrighty then. All right. Wow. Been a while, huh?
It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Snodacast. I'm your host, BlackChat56. I am joined by DJ Lionheart, and we're gonna go ahead and we're coming back from break. We might be taking 2 breaks out of the year, so the next one will most likely be September, and then from then on it'll be January and September. There's no concrete details on that just yet, but we will still try to be getting you guys podcast at least every week, and then we're also going to try to get more Snowda reels out. Don't be surprised if all of them don't. And of course, we also have a last minute show up of Gallows. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
It's the gallows.
It is the Gallows.
Hold
All
on, wait a
right.
minute.
Yeah,
Wait,
no
no, turn
problem.
off.
We're just getting introductions done. So,
Yeah.
alrighty then. So, this can't be a normal episode of the podcast without giving a little bit of an update. So, we're going to go ahead and go into weekly updates. Since we've been gone for a month, I'm sure we have quite a few things. Leon, is there anything of major interest that you would like to say?
It's been up and down for a while. Still sadly on job hunt, but
That sucks, buddy. I'm sorry.
it it's all right. Summer's here, and you know what that means for DJing:
Hey.
weddings, parties, graduations. I've been basically selling myself all over fucking Facebook, all over
God damn.
town where I can to hopefully drown up some business.
Hey, there you go.
I'm
Sometimes you
working
gotta
on it,
whore your out there just to get some stuff going.
right? I did a few volunteer stuff here and there to help promote not only me but other my friends and in the community here. So it's been
Right.
slow going, but I'm trucking along, just trucking along.
That's all you can do, right?
Right.
All right. Gallows. What you got?
Let's see. I've had a shitty week. So yeah.
Well,
I mean, I
that's
got a
always
new job. So that's the only good part about it.
okay. Well, I mean, at least you got a new job. There's always something to look forward to right there.
Right.
All right. Well, for me, a lot of things. I think before we left, I started my new job. I don't necessarily remember because, yeah, no, I've been working for about a month and a half. So, give or take,
Yeah.
I had my new job, my landscaping truck lead job. Right? I think I
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah. I
Okay.
remember.
So, I now do that. It's going okay. I mean, I've had a few slip ups here and there, but nothing of major concern. Obviously, I'm not fired, so there's that.
Hey, that's always a plus.
Yeah, and I will say this: I managed to snag a girlfriend out of this last month. I don't know how the hell I managed to do that, but somehow I pulled it out of my ass. I hate to rub it
Shit
in. I'm
just
not. I'm not.
happens.
Hey, I'm not rubbing
It
it
just
in.
happens, man.
It just happens. I'm more surprised about it than anything. Of course, there's been a lot of good movies that have come out this month. I am sad that we didn't get to talk about those, but I did see majority of them. Like I did go see Guardians of the Galaxy last night. I also went and saw Evil Dead Rise twice. I saw Renfield once. I saw the Super Mario Brothers twice, and I think that was it. I think like this month was pretty stacked. It was like there was a new movie releasing almost every week. I have yet to see Sizu. I really want to go see Sizu, but I haven't gotten to it just yet.
I heard that was an interesting one.
Yeah, I heard it's very very good, but it's very limited showing, so it's going to be hard to kind of try and find everything. But a lot of things basically end up happening and all that fun stuff. There's another reason why and I am going to explain why we kind of took a month break. I was experiencing some burnout, and there was some not controversy, but there was some slight drama going behind the scenes with our server and a particular member. We're not going to mention it, but unfortunately, that member is no longer a part of our group. We tried, and
It happens.
it happens
Guys. It
exactly.
happens.
So we're not going to go into major detail for it. We're just going to move on from it. Sad to see them go, but they kind of dug their own grave. So here we are. But it's we're hoping that we can move forward with this. We're definitely going to try to put more effort into this for sure. And yeah, there's going to be. I think we're going to go ahead and move a lot better going forward. So, like I said, saw a lot of movies. My bearded dragon is no longer sick, so that's good as well. Speaking of which, you little shit, come here, you little fucker. Yes, you. Oh, okay. You okay? I hit your head there a little bit. You okay? You okay? Okay. Yeah. So this little shit's no longer sick, and he has gotten just a tad bigger. If you can't tell.
Cool.
Yeah.
He's definitely grown.
A friend of a friend's has a bearded dragon.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty freaking huge.
Yeah, no, my roommate actually just got a full-size bearded dragon. His name's Rufus. He's a rehome, and I mean, he's like, his body is easily the whole, and maybe about like to right here on his tail, about half his tail. That's his body.
Yeah.
His tail is like about that thick at the base, going towards his body. I mean, he's a big boy. So that's what I can look forward to with this little guy. But yeah, he's okay. He's still a little shit. I gave him a bath today and cleaned his cage, so that's fun. Well, cage, his terrarium. But yeah, there's going on with that. Job's going okay. I can't really find anything else that I would really consider a good thing. But yeah, here we are. So, this can't be a normal episode of the podcast without talking about Now Showing. So this week for Now Showing, I already mentioned it, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the third and I believe final Guardians of the Galaxy movie written and directed by James Gunn. I saw it last night. Little long, couple characters underutilized, but all in all, fairly well done. Highly recommend seeing this. I wouldn't say bring your little kids because there is some shit in here that's pretty harsh.
Not ready for children.
Well, there's the first F-bomb in a Marvel movie. That's fine. I don't give a shit about that.
Well, we can't really say the first because if we talk about the first, we're talking about Daredevil, fucking Deadpool.
That's not MCU canon. That was
Deadpool's not MCU canon.
He is now, but that's a separate universe. We're talking about the mainstream Marvel movies, like under the Marvel Studios banner. Can I help you? You're crawling across my neck here, sir.
It's the first F-bomb in
a MCU movie.
Oh, in an MCU one. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not a Marvel movie. If you want to talk about the first F-bomb in a Marvel movie, I would think that would be Blade. Maybe? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe X-Men?
No, it would be Blade. It would be Blade because didn't he say motherfucker in that one?
Well, yeah, Blade came out in the 90s. X-Men didn't come out until the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So, yeah. Abso-goddamn-lutely. Anyways, so, of course, I'm glad about that, but, and I'm glad the character that they gave it to, it makes sense that Star-Lord would say the first F-bomb. I'm surprised he hasn't said it so far. I like where they leave off all these characters.
It was going to be him or Rocket.
Yeah.
And Rocket should have done it in the second one. If he had
I've heard a lot of good things about the movie. I've also heard there's a certain character that dies and everybody's going to be sad about in the movie. So
don't know where you heard that from.
I don't know. Not dies, I guess.
Technically, yes and no, but we're not going to go into that. We're going to keep this spoiler free.
That has been a long running theme. Is like title colors
match which character is going to die. Yeah. So, I will say this: there is something that theoretically dies in this movie, but it's not a particular character. I mean, don't get me wrong; there are character deaths, but there's not like none of the main characters. You know what I mean? So
I don't know because I've seen a clip. I've seen a clip of the movie, and one of the main characters looked like they're about to die, but I'm guessing that he doesn't die.
Well, again, we're keeping it spoiler free. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, so drop it. But yes and no. It's a yes and no kind of thing. But that being said, still a really good movie. I think the effects are really well done. The humor is actually pretty well balanced for some of the. But the reason why I say don't bring the little kids to this is there is some really dark shit in this. Also, there's some heavy-handed animal abuse in this movie as well. Don't get me wrong, all the animals are CGI. All the animals are CGI, but there's an element that like literally Rocket's first words, because you do get a lot of flashbacks with Rocket. We are going into Rocket's backstory. His first words were hurts, basically. Pain, hurts, whatever, something along those lines. That was his first words. Because he had been experimented on, and like he still had his skull exposed because it was shaved.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I said, Peter's gonna have a field day with this because you know how they are.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, Peeta's definitely gonna have a field day with it for sure. But I mean, they're all CGI animals. There's no real animals that got harmed in this movie. But you know, and that's the whole point. Like,
you know how Peter is. Peter will.
High Evolutionary is supposed to be very unlikable. That's the whole thing. But yes, I know Peeta's gonna blow this out of the fucking water. But
I mean, look what Peter tried to do with God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was that. I think
they went after Fenrir.
They went after Fenrir. Yeah.
Like during that whole fight scene, they were all pissy about that. Like, come on.
It's a game. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, no, Peeta's definitely out of touch. But we're not talking about Peeta. We're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. So, all in all, final thoughts. I have to say, I think this might be my most favorite Guardians movie since the first one. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the second one. I really respect the second one for sure. But I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's completely jarring compared to the first one. It doesn't have a lot of serious moments. And what serious moments there are is usually cut up by jokes. I'm like, no, that movie's a lot darker than you think. It just hides it behind this shade of happiness. Like, there's literally a mountain of skeletons, people.
Yeah,
the second one.
Guardians 2 definitely has a dark tone.
It does.
But it's masked by humor.
Exactly. And that's why I respect the hell out of it. You know, it's not my favorite.
Which makes a lot of sense because of what that story is going into.
Exactly. And like I said, it's not my favorite, but it's definitely bottom of the list. But there's only 3 movies, so, you know, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think they could have done better with 2. A little bit better.
Probably tone down some of the humor. I don't disagree. But you know, it's fine. I think that this one kind of there's a bit of dialogue about Drax that it's almost like James Gunn was talking directly to the audience, basically, because a lot of people are like, they don't like how Drax basically became the butt of the joke. He became the dumb character, and it's like, well, yes and no. This kind of explains that you know, at least he's funny. At least he's the one that, you know, has the most self-confidence. He always makes you laugh. And that's one of those things. It's like, yeah, that's Drax. Drax makes you laugh. I mean, shit, the Why is Gamora thing is still a meme.
Mm-hmm.
If you did make Drax kind of a quote-unquote dumb character, that wouldn't have happened in that movie. Let's be perfectly honest.
Honestly, I don't think Drax is dumb in any type of way. I just think the fact that his character is from a planet that does not understand humor, and they take everything fucking super seriously.
Well, and then you think about it, it's a drastic tonal change from his character in this next one, because in the second one, because he does start making jokes. He does start, you know, the whole point of it is like he's very unaware of what's going on. So yeah, I kind of agree that. Now, I will say this, the 2 most underutilized characters, in my opinion, this is not spoiler, it's there's a couple characters that are kind of underutilized. Like Groot is kind of faded into the background a little bit. He's still there. He still has his good moments. There's a moment where like majority of his body is gone, and you see his head, and it has like tentacles. And I'm like, okay, that's actually kind of cool. I like that. And there's a really cool scene that involves him and guns. You see it part of it in the trailer, and there is a hallway one take. Easily, out of all the things you could cut in this movie, that was the number one thing. I'm like, nope, you need that in the movie. That is a fucking phenomenal thing, and the song choice is great. I'm not gonna say which one it is because it's a definite surprise, and I love the hell out of it.
For all the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I've liked that the they've added really good songs to certain scenes because of how it makes
Exactly.
it feels for everybody.
Yeah,
So
no, I
Yeah,
don't
I
disagree.
that.
It's one of those things. It's like I think James Gunn really, like there's movies like okay, let's talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie for a moment. There is one song in that movie that is used in this movie, and it's fine. It's fine in the Mario Brothers movie, but it makes more of an impact in the Guardians movie because it kind of makes sense. It adds a lot of adrenaline rush to it. Whereas in the Mario movie, it's like, oh, well, okay, they're in that particular setting. It makes sense to use that song. Fine, cool, whatever, right? And it's enjoyable in that. But this movie, you actually feel it, you understand it, and everything, and it's great. It's done incredibly well, and I can never not commend James Gunn for that. I feel like he always picks a right song for a particular right moment. Um, and I think the soundtrack is fucking phenomenal. I think the soundtrack slaps. It adds a lot more 90s and early 2000s as well, but it still has its 70s and 80s music as well. So I I love that. There's a particular scene towards the end where they use Florence and the Machine's Dog Days Are Over.
Hmm.
I actually started tearing up at that scene. That was a really, really, really good scene, and it was a really good song choice too. It's a very emotional song, and I think it fits the scene very well. Do you have to watch the holiday special in order to understand this? No, I think the only other non-Guardians movie you have to watch would be Endgame and Infinity War. That's really it. If you want to get some context, because they kind of explain a lot of it later on in the movie anyways. So if you haven't seen the first two, then yeah, go ahead and watch those. If you want to watch Infinity War and Endgame, go right ahead, you're more than welcome to. But it's not required. Those are more required viewing versus the holiday special. Not really required. If you just want to watch it because it's fun, because it is, then yeah, go ahead and watch it.
That's a good laugh.
Yeah, it's a
It's a good laugh.
it's a decent one. It's nice. It's short. It's well done, in my personal opinion.
I just like the fact that they used a certain character a lot more than they did
Kraglin,
they did the last two movies.
Kraglin.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, Kraglin he's still a side character, but he is definitely a part of the main core group.
yeah.
And there is a fun dynamic between him and Cosmo in this movie that kind of plays out through the whole thing, and it's done well. Cosmo has a lot more. She has a lot more elements in this movie, and I love it. It's done incredibly well. And yeah, I highly recommend this movie. I wouldn't say it's going to be for everybody because the animal abuse is starting to turn people off. They also feel like the High Evolutionary is just a screaming idiot, and that's not really the case. He has a god complex. It makes sense that he would kind of want to be in control when stuff is getting out of his control. It makes sense that he would yell. It's like, okay, cool. There's a really great line where somebody says, "For God's sake," and he said, "God doesn't exist." What's that?
Narcissism 101. It says narcissism 101.
Exactly.
It's
And
narcissism controlling, want to
yeah,
be in control of everything.
but yeah, no, like there is a line in the movie, basically along the lines of "For God's sake," and he said, "God doesn't exist. That's why I stepped in." It's a really good line, and it makes
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
interesting
a
dynamics for sure.
interesting line there.
There is some elements that actually made my jaw drop. I'm not gonna lie. There's some elements like because I am an animal lover. There are some elements that made me cry. But I mean, here's the thing. That's what elevated this movie for me. As soon as this comes out on 4K, I'm grabbing the steelbook. I'm grabbing the 4K copy. I don't give a shit. I'm grabbing that damn thing. I don't care how broke it makes me. I'm grabbing this damn movie. This is like priority whenever it comes out. And yeah, I highly recommend it. But we've been talking about this for about 20 minutes, so let's go ahead and go into our main topic, one that is going to take, like, I would imagine 30 to 40 minutes. So, for those of you that don't know, I believe like a week or two ago, it was CinemaCon. This is just this is basically celebrating the movie going experience. It's a lot of investors. It's basically an investors convention. They have a few press release there, but you have your companies that showed up, which was basically Sony, Warner Brothers, Disney showed up just to show up, and of course you also have the other ones. I believe it was Universal and Paramount.
Yeah, Universal
So
Paramount.
I would argue Universal had a really, really, really strong strong area there because they showed a lot of their stuff. You have the new Strays movie, which has Will Ferrell playing a dog who basically becomes a stray, and it's an R-rated comedy, and I cannot wait for that movie because that trailer was hilarious. You also have they did talk about Mario Brothers 2 is coming out. They're working on it. They didn't say anything other than that. They just said it is going to happen because, yeah, they didn't bring up anything with Five Nights at Freddy's. But the reason why is because Five Nights at Freddy's is going to be a cinema and online release or a streaming release at the same time. So that's part of the reason why when Blumhouse came out, they did not talk about that because the CinemaCon is really about the movie going experience, not, oh, you can go to the theaters, but you can also watch it cheaper at home for $5-6.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
getting Megan 2.
Megan 2 is happening.
Fun. And
those movie is going to be coming out.
They want to make that like a movie franchise.
Yeah, they do, and
so I thought that was interesting.
Fairly sure. Yeah, it's fairly interesting.
I could see. Okay, I could definitely see something for a sequel, basically a revenge story. But I don't know where they could go after that.
I don't know. I mean, technically, Child's Play kind of played around with that idea because if you wish to be technical, Megan is basically it's a Child's Play, not rip off, but it is definitely you can tell where it got majority of its inspiration, and that was Child's Play. No, not the shitty 2019 one. Don't fucking start saying that shit. Fuck you. That movie sucks ass. The only good thing about that movie was Mark Hamill. That's it.
I can.
I don't like any of the Curses. The Curse of Chucky's one. The Curse of Chucky ones didn't really pan out well. Because...
No. We're talking about the 2019 remake.
Yeah,
that isn't the mainline Chucky. That is the shittiest of the entire series. That's the one where it was an AI bot or is an AI doll that went nuts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't.
I was very
after the one where he has that kid. They have where they have
Curse,
the kid.
Bride and Curse, or no, Bride and Seed are the one with Glenn / Linda. Yeah, and then Curse takes place afterwards, and then you have Cult, and then after Cult is when the Chucky series is taking place. So
how is that series going, anyways? I wonder.
I don't know. I've heard good things. It's going pretty well.
Like doing well.
I think they either just wrapped up season 3 or they're working on season 3. One of the two.
I think they're working on it.
I think they're working on it because it's actually been doing really, really well for Child's Play fans and everything else like that. I wouldn't be surprised if it eventually gets off of Sci-Fi because Sci-Fi tends to drop a lot of things in my personal opinion. The only thing that I don't think they ever dropped was like The Expanse, and it was a zombie show that came out around the same time as Walking Dead, but it actually kind of had more humor. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, shit.
The Walking Zed? No, not Walking Zed.
No. Z.
It's just called Z.
Z Nation.
Yeah.
Z Nation was really good. They dropped it though, and I think
they ran out of ideas.
I mean,
at least they dropped it.
Z Nation kind of like it was hard to go where they were wanting it to. And,
with the sci-fi budget.
It became more of a comedy than anything, though. It became more of like a zombie comedy, somewhat.
Yeah. Well, it was meant to be.
It was still good.
Yeah, it was meant to be a comedy. That was the whole point, you know. But back onto this. I think Paramount had a pretty decent one. They did say that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is happening, which I'm very excited about. They didn't say anything about Jim Carrey. I think they're still in talks with that. But I am curious to see who they're going to pick to voice Shadow. I think Stephen Blum is a fantastic choice. That's just me. If you're going to go for like somebody that's relatively unknown, don't go for a celebrity. Just go for Stephen Blum. You
feel well known.
Yeah, maybe Stephen Blum is a good idea. I mean, like Stephen Blum he's voiced so many different characters. Best example is he did the English dubbing for Spike Spiegel in the English dub of Cowboy Bebop. That's Stephen Blum.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that guy's phenomenal. He did Green Goblin in one of the Spider-Man series. I believe it was Spectacular Spider-Man. I believe that's who he voiced. He voices what's his name, the purple giant space cat in Rebels.
Oh, Zeb.
Zeb, yeah, he voices Zeb. He does like a lot of really good characters, but yeah, I feel like he'd be a good enough choice.
Zeb's voice, like I can see that. I can see a Shadow.
Yeah, exactly. He could do that gruff kind of, he can do that voice. I think honestly, like do more of a Spike Spiegel for Shadow, kind of give him that calm, almost Keanu Reeves-esque. Just actually, I'm going to be perfectly honest. If you're going to go for a celebrity, Keanu Reeves is not a bad choice.
No, I don't know. Hold on. Look, I like Keanu Reeves. He's a really great actor and a really great guy. Don't get me wrong. But for Shadow, you need more of a dark tone and like a dark tone to him because he has a dark. Like to him, he doesn't. For him, he doesn't remember his past. He doesn't remember his past, and he's always haunted by the fact that there was this little girl in his life that. So yeah. For it.
Carl Urban.
I think so. Yeah.
From The Boys.
Say again?
Billy Butcher from The Boys.
Get him.
Be a good choice.
Get him. Apparently, right with it.
Oh, and actually, apparently, speaking of that, this was some news. It's not official just yet, hence the reason I haven't brought it up. But apparently, they have possibly casted him. Like, it's not concrete just yet. They have possibly casted him as Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat 2.
Really?
I think it's an interesting choice, but I don't think it would have been my first choice because he is pushing 50. I thought Johnny Cage would have been in the 30s, like they would have gotten The Miz or somebody else like that. But I think he's a good enough choice. He can have that kind of douchebag and personality. What are you doing?
Johnny Cage gets serious even from the games. What I've seen, Johnny Cage gets somewhat serious in his older life.
And that's what I'm thinking they're probably going to be doing. They could be doing like the grizzled actor that's not getting a lot of work anymore. That's fine. I'm cool with that. Yeah. Do your own version of Johnny Cage. I'm perfectly fine with that. And we've seen Carl Urban do a very convincing American accent multiple times. So here we go. Yeah. Here's the hoping.
I'm definitely excited.
I think Paramount's picking up Twisted. It's going to be doing Twisted Metal.
Oh yeah. They're going to be working on it with Anthony Mackie. Yeah. It's interesting. I'm curious to see what it ends up looking like. But you were going to say, Leon?
I'm interested in the prequel animated series that they're doing for Transformers.
They have Chris Hemsworth playing Optimus Prime. That's an interesting choice.
I agree.
Megatron? I forget who they got to play Megatron.
I forget his name too.
But you know who I'm talking about. He's an interesting choice too.
Chris Hemsworth definitely is a really interesting choice to play young Prime.
I would have thought they would have. Here's the thing. Nothing against. I believe his name is Pete Sellers. I believe. Don't crush me in the comments. I don't remember his name. He's done this voice so many fucking times.
I believe since the beginning, if I remember.
Yeah, correctly. He did the original.
He's been Prime forever. He is Prime.
So I think it's time that we get, like everybody else has been voiced by somebody else. I think it's time that we do get a different Optimus Prime. Chris Hemsworth is an interesting choice. I wouldn't have necessarily gone for him. Maybe for like a Bumblebee that would have made sense, or like Ironhide. I feel like Ironhide would have worked.
Ironhide, I think, would be really good for Chris. I think Ironhide or
Ratchet.
Ratchet would be really cool. I think that.
Describe when he transforms. Red Alert.
Red Alert.
Okay.
He's kind of like. I think he's kind of like Ratchet in a way. Mm-hmm. They're both medical officers in the army.
Yeah.
Even I wouldn't say Soundwave for Chris Hemsworth or Starscream, but Demolisher.
Maybe.
Okay,
that'd be an interesting one. In my personal opinion, I feel like what's his name? I'm blanking on a character name, but there is a particular character that I feel would work really, really, really well. And actually, speaking of Transformers, because the Rise of the Beast movie is coming out,
which I'm excited for that.
I am excited for, but here's the thing: I kind of got an element that I would have loved to have not been spoiled for me from a trailer, and it is the fact that the main antagonist, indeed, of this movie is going to be Omnicron, which is great. That's awesome. I love that. I would love to see what they do with Omnicron. However, I would have loved to have been surprised as fuck when that movie came out. I would have been like, oh my god, they're doing Omnicron. Fuck yeah. But no.
I think they would have gone with it. I think the third trailer.
Unicron. Yeah, not Omnicron. Unicron.
Omnicron is I can't remember who
Omnicron is. But yeah,
he was a side character, if I remember correctly, from the old '80s show.
Oh, okay.
Don't
So
remember
yeah,
off the
so
top of my head.
Unicron is coming, and I'm like, that's awesome. I would have loved to have seen that in the movie. And also,
Because
they're
he
hinting
was,
at they're gonna have human mech suits. So I'm like, well, that would have been nice to have
that's
seen. Been
interesting.
surprised about, but no, you know, you got to spoil
It's
everything in the movie now.
definitely interesting what this reboot-esque line of
From what I've
Transformers
heard, they're
is
going
kind
into
of
time
different.
travel into this movie. That's what I've heard. I've heard they're going with time travel elements in this movie. I also have a sneaking suspicion, just based off the trailer, either Bumblebee is going to be out of commission for the most of the movie, or they're going to kill off Bumblebee.
I mean,
that'd be a hard one. But a lot of the time, when they kill off Prime, Bumblebee is always next in line. He is second in command, and then
Usually, except for the Transformers movie,
yeah.
well,
the one from the
80s. Yeah, at that time, Ultra Magnus, but we actually haven't had a live action Ultra Magnus.
I feel like that would have been a decent character for Chris Hemsworth to play, Ultra Magnus.
He would, or Prowl as well.
Prowl would have been a good one. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Now I do love the fact that they got not Clancy Brown. Is it Clancy Brown? Is it? No. Ron Perlman is going to be voicing Maximus Prime, I believe is his name, the ape one.
Optimus Primal. Yeah.
Optimus Primal. Yeah, I love that voice acting. I'm like, that's actually really good.
Yeah,
like if you're gonna go for somebody.
Why I'm okay with the time travel aspect, because growing up I watched Beast Wars.
Exactly. Beast Wars takes place in the 90s, so exactly. Oh, I didn't even know that they did. That makes sense.
What happened was, for Beast Wars, when the Autobots crash land on Earth, they were crash land on Earth during prehistoric era.
Mm-hmm.
The Maximals and Predacons actually take place in the far distant future.
Oh,
and so they were in battle with the Predacons, and they get shot, and they go through a wormhole and crash land on prehistoric Earth.
Oh, okay. That makes sense why they would be using the Beast Wars then. That makes sense. That they would be using the Predacons and what? Hold on 1 second. I am busy at the moment. What would you like?
The only thing for me though with it is that in the last, I think, 2 movies, they've introduced what do they call it? The ones that Optimus had to fight in one of the movies to get control over.
It's been a while since I watched the original 5, the first 5. Are you talking about From the Last Night?
Yeah. No. Was it the last one? Which one is it that they introduced? And they introduced the T-Rex and the dinosaurs.
Oh, that was
Age of Extinction.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I have a hard time figuring out which one.
They're going to introduce the Predacons. I was going to wonder, are they going to also introduce the T-Rex and the other ones?
No. That's different. They're like the first Transformers to ever come on Earth.
Yeah, and they're actually considered Autobots. They're not Maximals or Predacons.
Exactly, they are still considered Autobots. So, anyways, getting off of that, I actually did have one more exciting news to bring up about Universal's thing. They said they're working on The Secret Life of Pets 3.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I like The Secret Life of Pets.
That being said, on to better things.
That's kind of like.
Look, I've enjoyed The Secret Life of Pets. It's really good. It's really wholesome.
It's like them making a Boss Baby 3. I'm not really looking forward to that.
Right.
I didn't even like the second one. I didn't really think the second one was at all.
The first one's confusing as fuck.
I wasn't a fan of Boss Baby at all.
It was just, it became a fucking hit out of nowhere. It made no sense. Even like based on the movie. The movie's not that good. It's confusing as fuck.
It's not.
It's a TV series that's.
It's okay. It's okay. It's not good.
Not bad. But like I heard the TV series is relatively balanced. It's not terrible, but
it still didn't really make much sense, at least to me. But
yeah, but no. That being said, Illumination also did say that they're working on a new movie called Migration. And actually, if you saw the Super Mario Brothers movie, you did see a trailer for it. And honestly, it doesn't look that bad. It looks gorgeous animation wise. The story seems interesting about this duck family, where the father's kind of like he's always wanted to stay in one location, and the mother really, really, really wants to go find somewhere else. So he's like, okay, fine, we'll go. And it's kind of like a road trip movie with ducks. And I'm like, okay, that's actually fairly interesting. The animation is beautiful. The voice cast is not bad. The granddad is being voiced by Danny DeVito. You can't go wrong there.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that at all.
No.
Speaking of Danny DeVito, I really like the Haunted Mansion that's going to be coming out with Danny DeVito.
Yeah, there's actually been getting really good. They showed like I believe 10, 20 minutes of the movie on Disney's panel, and a lot of people said if you're a fan of the ride, you're gonna love this movie. And
yeah, that's what they were saying too.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
A lot of cameos in this movie.
Yes, a lot of cameos, a lot of characters from the ride, a lot of elements from the ride, which is great because, like, okay, I have a soft spot for the Eddie Murphy movie because I grew up with it. You know,
I was like, I loved it. I thought that was a great movie.
Great movie is giving it way too much credit.
Is my thing doing that again?
No, not really. It's like very.
You're frozen for a second.
I don't know. It's who's doing the new Harry Potter series? Is it Universal?
That's Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns Harry Potter, so we were actually just about to get into that because Disney didn't have all that much. They just kind of showed up there for a participation trophy. They showed the exact same
for San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, E3 is where they save a lot of their announcements. Yeah,
they're gonna save cool shit for that.
Exactly, and they literally showed the exact same trailer for The Little Mermaid that has been playing around in theaters.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, which gives me... And here's the thing. I've seen that trailer. I have little to no faith in this movie. It's already giving me wrong vibes.
I hear a lot of people are...
Or you attack me in the comments knowing it's not about her brain. What's
up? Everyone's disappointed in the way Flounder looks and Sebastian. Everyone loves the way Melissa McCarthy looks as
Melissa McCarthy looks really good as Ursula. I like her voice. Her voice is pretty cool. Like, I think she's going to have the most fun with this movie.
I think that was a great casting choice because of the way she is.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good casting choice. However, I feel maybe... You could have gotten an actual dude to play it. That would have been funny.
That would have
been hilarious.
That would have been great.
I don't know who.
Drag queen do it. Get the drag queen to do it. I think fucking. I mean,
get who?
Do it.
Who?
If
they decided to go a male route for Ursula, who would you think would be a good choice?
What's his name from Lost? The big guy.
Oh, okay.
Get him to do it.
I feel like you could have had some fun with that.
I think so too.
Trying to think who else. Just for shits and giggles, get Danny DeVito.
Yes.
Oh man, that would be fucking hilarious. That shit would make everybody fucking laugh.
I would be like, I have to see this movie like 10 times just to see Danny DeVito play Ursula. That would have been hilarious.
Right. I definitely too.
Whoa, way too many people talking. Liam?
Danny DeVito as King Triton. That would have been
that would have been fire.
Right.
Really
also, another person that this to be a female actress, Queen Latifah would make an interesting Ursula.
I don't disagree. Actually, I feel like she would have had some fun with that. Played Mowat in Avatar. What's her name? I keep forgetting her name, but she would have been a good choice.
Yeah. I know you're talking about. Yeah, that would be a good one too.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's so many ways you can go with that.
I don't know. Right. The trailer for the movie kind of threw me off because the singing and the trailer didn't match up when I did match up so well. You know,
I feel like the singing is gonna probably be my my least concern because the main actress, she has a beautiful voice. Give her credit where credit's due. She can fucking sing. She's got some pipes on her. Not going to disagree with that. My biggest thing is it's like I don't like the way Sebastian looks. I don't like the casting choice of Aquafina as the seagull. I'm like, okay, seriously, you could have gotten so many other people to play this, but you just like, oh well, we're gonna cast her as a female, and it's like, out of all the people you could have casted, Aquafina, really? Like, I feel like somebody like Kristen Wiig, or like fucking. There's so many other choices. Like you could have done. Kate McKinnon would have been an interesting choice in my personal opinion, but no, like you had to go with Aquafina because she's popular right now. I mean, fine, I guess. I don't know. Also, I don't like Sebastian's voice. I just don't like.
I haven't.
I forget his name, but he's an interesting choice. If you could pull up and make an accent, he's a good choice. You can't. I feel somebody like I don't know.
You know what would be funny to me? If they would have got Seth Rogen to play the bird that teaches aerial things.
Oh, Scuttle.
I don't think Scuttle and Seth Rogen would have fit. Also, Seth Rogen already did Pumbaa, so they're not going to hire him again for that.
Yeah.
That'd be confusing.
It still would have been hilarious.
Speaking of Seth Rogen, Mutant Mayhem looks interesting as all hell.
Yes, it does. I'm super pumped for it, and apparently we actually got a plot synopsis. Apparently,
a lot of people were comparing it to like a Civil War type situation.
Yeah, that's what they're kind of leaning towards, and I think it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, it definitely seems interesting, and I kind of like the aspect that they're actually going with actual teenagers compared to what they were doing with the other.
I've heard a lot of people complain that they sound like preteens. I'm like, well, yeah, they're trying to do like a whole trilogy of these movies. That's perfectly fine in my book.
So yeah, I'm fine with it too.
Yeah.
And freaking Jackie Chan as Master Splinter.
That's pitch perfect casting right there. I'm sorry.
Right?
That is. John Cena as Rocksteady is a really good choice, though. Granted, I think you could get anybody that has charismatic, and you could have. The one thing that I find everybody's complaining about April being black, but I'm like, Bebop is voiced by Seth Rogen. That's primarily in every adaptation you have of Bebop and Rocksteady. Bebop is almost always a black guy, and I don't know if they're going to still keep that and have Seth Rogen play it. I think that's leading to this controversy. But everyone's like, oh, April's black. I'm like, okay, well, April's been so many different races under the sun and so many different ages under the sun. I don't give a shit.
I think
fuck off.
Yeah, I think that's
anime theory. Is she younger? April O'Neil's like probably like
one from Nickelodeon, yes. Rise, she's black, and then Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, she's black, and then in this one, she's black. But she's also younger too. I think she's like 12 or 13 in this.
Yes, I mean,
interesting to be that young for it, but
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, well, they're preteens.
Yeah.
They're all preteens.
It looks interesting. I definitely see it.
Yeah. Me too. And then going into Sony, apparently Craven the Hunter is going to be rated R and is going to be super gory.
Oh yeah.
I'm pumped about that.
The synopsis for that they showed.
Yeah, that he's he's not afraid to kill people. Like, he's an animal. He protects animals, but like he'll go very feral on these people. Like, apparently he bites a dude's neck off or his face off or whatever.
Yeah, bites someone's freaking face off.
Yeah, it's fucking
not
intense,
afraid
man.
to get dirty.
And I'm glad that they're making this rated R. Though, granted, here's my thing that also kind of pisses me off, because I'm like, really? You could make this rated R, but you didn't make Morbius, a movie that literally involves a shitload of blood, or should at least. You made that PG-13.
Yeah, a lot of people were annoyed with that. Morbius should have been rated R, and Venom and Carnage should have been rated R.
Yeah, Carnage, Venom Let There Be Carnage definitely should have been rated R. that was my number one concern going into that movie, and I still had a decent time with it. But I'm like, you're gonna have carnage, and you're not gonna have blood. Fuck off.
That wasn't
There's a
the
lot of
best
Sony
design choice, but
that should have been rated R, but they're not.
Mhm.
It's Sony. They're gonna try to do their best on what they think the audience is gonna like.
Right.
it's weird. Like they're taking like don't get me wrong, I kind of like the idea, but also don't really like the idea of them doing villain solo movies. Like don't get me wrong, like I really enjoyed Venom. Craven sounds like it's going to be fucking amazing.
Right.
But the problem is we're not if they're doing these side movies, we're never going to be able to see them fight Spider-Man.
Well, that's not exactly entirely true. They, I think now, because for the longest time they were wanting to get all these characters introduced into the MCU, and now they're like, well, we're never going to get that to happen, so fuck it, let's go balls to the wall with it. We got the rights. We'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I get that. From what I was watching, what they were saying, it sounds like they're gonna like let the MCU deal with Tom Holland's take on Spider-Man, and then from the route they're going, it looks like we may be getting a Sinister Six movie from Sony sometime down the line.
I wouldn't mind a Sinister Six movie. That's what they're wanting to do. They're wanting to basically make it an evil Avengers movie. And that's fine. I don't hate that idea. But
And then they were supposed to bring in like another Spider-Man variant. Supposedly.
I don't hate that idea. But I'm also like, it's Sony. Not the biggest fan. You know,
Yeah. So it's like, okay, what are they gonna? What's the MCU gonna do with Tom Holland?
Yeah.
If they're gonna take all these iconic villains and just make solo movies for them.
Well, then the MCU is going to have their own version of the said villains.
It'd be another freaking shit. I can't remember his name. Pietro Fiasco again.
That's fine. I'm cool with that. They like and that's the thing. The MCU had their own. Hold on one second. What was that, Gallus?
Is it doing it again?
Its reverb is very, very heavy in vibration. So.
All right, I'm gonna exit out.
All right, cool. Hey, put in your headphones. And then there were two. But yeah, no, I here's the thing. I don't hate Sony's panel. It's fine. It's whatever. Apparently they're coming out with a R-rated rom-com. Kind of interested in that, I guess, because it's going to be a very raunchy R-rated rom-com.
Yeah, that was interesting. An idea.
You know, I'm up for a raunchy rom-com. Like Bridesmaids is a fairly raunchy rom-com. I don't give a shit if it's 90%, if it's like all women. Right. It's fucking hilarious, you know. Mean Girls is absolutely hilarious, you know. Like I hate the idea that rom-coms are just chick flicks. I'm like, yes, there are plenty of chick flicks that are just straight up chick flicks, you know. Like and welcome back, good sir. We can't hear you. Wait, hold on, wait, maybe try again.
Is that better?
Tremendously better.
All right.
All right,
cool. So, So yeah, you know, it's just one of those things. It's like I don't hate rom-coms as long as they're funny. That's my big thing. You know,
I can't. I mean, I can stand rom-coms. I just can't stand musical rom-coms.
Musical rom-coms are a hard thing to pull off.
That's a whole different thing. That's a whole
That's a whole different subsection. Now, granted, getting onto Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers actually had a fairly interesting lot when it came to what they revealed. So obviously, beforehand, they had their shareholders or their reveal. It was basically like their C2E2 or whatever the fuck it is, and they revealed what all is going on to Max, which is going to be the amalgamation of Paramount Plus or not Paramount Plus. Discovery Plus and HBO Max, and it's just going to be called Max. Highly interested in it. I'm probably going to get it, but they're not ever. Here's the thing, though: they're not getting rid of HBO Max and Paramount Discovery Plus. They're still going to be their own thing. They're just going to be Max exclusives. And I'm like, okay, well, you kind of hook, line, and sinkered me with the fact that we're getting a Conjuring show that is, it's basically, it's going to revolve not necessarily around Warren, around the Warrens, but it's
Well,
going to involve around their mystery museum, where it's like it's going to reveal the backstory of almost every item in there. And I'm like, that's
That's
interesting.
gonna make an
I
interesting.
would love, I would love to know what each and every item in that house means, because we've seen like about 3 items in that house that we know that means something so
I haven't seen
far.
the last Conjuring movie, so yeah, probably.
Well,
And
because you got that twirly thing from from the second movie. You got the animal doll you got the animal doll, and then you got whatever the devil made me do it, that item they took from that place. One, so
I haven't watched that Conjuring movie. But
I
that
haven't
being
watched it
said,
either.
they did reveal that they are making a fourth Conjuring movie called The Conjuring: The Last Rite. Rite, like as in last rites given to you by a priest, basically before the movie.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
wonder what supernatural creature they're gonna deal with in this one.
well, I think they're going to have to do demons again because you're calling it The Last Rite, and I think in this case, I don't know if they're basing it off of anything that really happened. Not off the top of my head. Unlike The Devil Made Me Do It, which supposedly did happen. That was the first court case that revolved around somebody saying, I was possessed by the devil, that's why I did it. Perfectly fine, cool, whatever. But I think with this one, you could go kind of like an Exorcist route. Maybe
Okay.
have like an inmate. There's another movie coming out, and I forget what it's called, but it's basically almost like what Primal Fear was setting up. But Primal Fear obviously went in a completely different direction. This one's basically taking that idea and running with it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that this character, this guy that's in prison? He's about to go on death row. He's trying to convince his lawyer that he is possessed, and
Oh,
it
I know what you're talking about.
looks so good. And I think you could go something similar with that. Don't go the
Okay.
lawyer route, but definitely go something along the lines of like, look, within my last few weeks, I want these people to visit me because I need to talk to them. That
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. I think that's a fairly interesting idea. There's so many ways you can go with this. I really do think you could go with, something like somebody that thinks they're dying, yada yada. There's so many different possibilities with the title, like The Last Rite. I'm curious to see where they
Yeah.
go with that. That being said, they also had stuff about the Flash. Apparently, the Flash is getting very mixed reactions. There's a lot of people saying that they love it. There's a lot of other people saying like, look, hey, it has a very strong opening act, but it falls short after the second one. It falls short in the third act, is what I've been told. There's stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, but they said visually it looks good, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm cool with the kind of first act and a kind of
Yeah.
last act.
I think a lot of them are loving it because you got Supergirl, you got the Batman version of the Flash, and then you got Flash, all working as a team to fight the
Yeah,
the evil
Fight.
the evil
Oh.
the evil version of Krypton and shit like that.
yeah, no, that's Zod.
Yes.
Are they fighting Zod?
Uh,
I thought it was a female. I thought it was a female one.
No. General Zod is the main, kind of one of the main antagonists in this movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a friend of mine and I actually got into a pretty heated argument about the Flash. Don't get me wrong, visually it looks great. Michael Keaton coming back as Batman, what the fuck, craziness there. But a lot of my concerns are as well as expected because of the shit Ezra Miller did. And
well,
I honestly think that it's not going to do as well as it should have or should be.
So I'm going to kind of leech off of that. Basically bring up my major concern. Yes, that is a concern. That's part of the reason why I'm cautiously optimistic about this movie. However, from what I've seen in the marketing and what they say they're basing this off of. So Flashpoint, for those of you that don't know, Flashpoint revolves around a storyline where Barry Allen goes back in time and saves his mother and then ultimately never becomes a Flash. And then it turns out a lot of the stuff that's going on in this alternate timeline is because of I forget the Reverse Flash's name, but it's because of the reverse.
Zoom.
This is a world where
Eobod
Ebob Tharn. Yeah, so this is a world where Themyscira and Atlantis are at war because apparently they met Aquaman and Wonder Woman kind of hit it off, and then apparently they kind of split it. They kind of split up because of they didn't agree with certain things, and so Wonder Woman basically kills Mera, and that pisses me off because we could have seen a decapitated fucking Amber Heard, and we're never gonna see that now.
And people would have lost their fucking minds.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're basically doing a live action version of the Flashpoint.
Nope. Kinda. That's what they're kinda doing.
Well,
It's still.
they kind of are, because the fact that what you just named off, that's what start of the Flash movie, the animated version, that's what it shows.
Fine. Here's the thing. Here's what they're doing though. They're basically, now that they're bringing back Zod, which fine, I guess it's cool. I kind of get it because that was kind of the whole start of this version of the DCEU was Man of Steel. I kind of understand. However, the whole point of Superman in that alternate timeline in the Flashpoint Paradox, the whole point of it is he missed the Kent farm and landed in a government facility where they tested him to the point where he was an emancipated, lesser version of himself, barely spoke enough English. And the whole point of him is he's supposed to kind of come in at last minute and kind of save. Like, they save him, but this is a world that has no metahumans, aside from Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and then, of course, I believe you also have Cyborg in that as well. And in this alternate timeline, Bruce Wayne is the one that gets killed. His mother becomes the Joker, and his father becomes Batman. So realistically, what this movie should have been is, instead of Michael Keaton, don't get me wrong, love Michael Keaton, love the fact that he's coming back as Batman. That's awesome. But it should have been, blanking on his name, Negan from The Walking Dead.
It
should have been Jeffrey Dean Morgan coming back, because that's a perfect casting for Thomas Wayne as Batman. It should have been that. That should have been it. You could have gotten the same actress come back and play Martha, or you could have gotten somebody else. And that's one of those things. You could have had that, but no, you don't. And we're basically getting Man of Steel with a female. Oh, and the Flash is in there doing some timeline meddling.
Yeah, if they would have done it that route, they didn't even need to have to call it a Flash movie. They could literally just call it Flashpoint.
Yes, but then again, they're also calling it The Flash because it's the first Flash movie. And here's the thing. I don't hate the idea of doing a live-action Flashpoint Paradox. I don't hate that idea. It's not a bad one.
No, it's a good concept.
It's a good concept, and it's begging to be put on live action. But it should not have been the first Flash movie.
It should have been the fourth or fifth Flash movie, like the fourth or the fifth.
Like, honestly, I could argue it could have been the second or third. That's fine. But based off of the timeline that they're going off of, it's like, okay, sure. Anyways, that's it for CinemaCon. I believe we have a couple other topics that we're gonna go into, and we've also been talking about CinemaCon for the past 30-40 minutes. So, haha. Yeah. All right. So on to some quick fire.
CinemaCon did bring a whole bunch of stuff.
It did, like the 5 fucking videos we'll talk about.
Right.
All right. So that being said, the next Legend of Zelda game is coming out soon, and there have been a few people that have been able to test play it, and like a few sections of it, and I've heard relatively good things. Main thing is, I can tell from the trailers, it looks absolutely gorgeous. I wish I didn't sell my Switch, but then again, I plan on getting a Switch OLED, so.
Oh yeah, Tears of the Kingdom definitely looks interesting. A lot of people are happy that Nintendo listened to the fans about some of the issues that Breath of the Wild had. And some of the things that people wish they could have done in Breath of the Wild, now they could do in Tears of the Kingdom, and it just looks amazing, and I honestly can't wait.
Yeah, no, I can't wait either. Whenever I get a Switch whenever I plan on getting a Switch OLED, right now I have a convention that I'm saving up for, so there's that, and then we'll eventually go from there. But this game does look gorgeous. I think there hasn't been that many Legend of Zelda games that have gotten like harsh criticism or anything like that. Like even Link's Awakening got a really good review. I mean, I played a little bit of Link's Awakening. It's pretty good. I liked it.
I don't know. I've played a Legend of Zelda game before, but it was like the Wii shooter one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only game that I've ever played from the Zeldaverse. Other than that, I don't really play it. I'm not really a big fan of the Legend of Zelda. Most of them, I'm not a big fan of any RPG games. Sometimes
there's only 2 games I haven't played from the main titles anyway. The main titles, and that is the Four Swords game. Both the Four Swords.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. Well, we have anything else that we wish to talk about this?
I just really hope it does really good with the fans, since Nintendo's listened to them. So I mean, I hope they have a for it.
I hope this game does well. You know, every Nintendo game, for the most part, out of their mainline titles that they have, usually do okay.
Oh yeah,
Nintendo needs more games, like more original games.
I forget who's doing the voice of Ganon in this one. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't follow this one as well as I probably should have. But on to something that I wish I followed more, but I've kind of gotten burnout with. So the Ahsoka show is coming out.
Huh.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have mixed feelings for it. I think it's a great concept, a great idea that we learn about what happened to her after this Order 66 and up to Rebels.
No, this is taking place after Rebels.
Yeah, this takes place after Rebels, after Mandalorian. The storyline that they're using is the book trilogy Heir to the Empire,
which involves Thrawn.
Yeah. And if you haven't read that book trilogy, I highly recommend it. I own it. It is a great book trilogy.
It's one of the most well-known and one of the most well-read out of the entire Star Wars Legends.
Yeah. Really?
It was the Mara Jade stuff, too, that was really well-read. You know, it's one of those things that's like, I feel you could have borrowed so much from Legends. I get that you want to make it mostly your own, but you could have borrowed so much from Legends. You had all that lore, and you know, Disney just decided to say, "Oh, what's that? You guys actually like this?"
Yeah, that's the one thing that I'm not too thrilled with Disney dealing with Star Wars. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stuff I like that they're doing, but there's a whole lot more that I'm not liking because they're taking years and years and years of lore and throwing it out the fucking window.
Yep.
Because of it is only the idea that they have enough stuff to make a movie, several different shows, and a whole ass series with this Star Wars thing that they don't want it. So we just can come up with our own ideas and let's do it like that.
My thing is like the one last good show I've heard like nothing but excellent reviews, like a few scathing ones, but definitely mostly, like I would say 98% positive out of any of the new Star Wars shows was Andor.
Yeah,
I thought Mandalorian did better than Andor.
No.
Well, Andor's a slow burn. That's what I've also been I've also been told, because I'm like, I may watch it, I may not. I don't know. But I will eventually get there. But no, the biggest thing is just like, I want to watch Andor. I really do. I haven't found the time for it yet. I'm in the middle of trying to rewatch all of Hannibal because I got through seasons 1 and 2 really well, and then I fell off in the first 3 episodes of season 3. I'm trying to watch X-Files all the way through. That's going to take forever. I'm in between a lot of different shows. Rewatching all of Regular Show. Never seen all of that.
I can't watch Regular Show. I like Regular Show, I do, but that's something I won't watch or binge because of that. It's not that good of a series.
It got really, really good, honestly, dude. There's some heavy tones in that movie, or in that show.
I never was really a fan of Regular Show. I was never a fan of X-Files. Like,
really?
Yeah, it's just something that I just wasn't into it. My grandparents on my dad's side, they were like heavily into X-Files.
Oh yeah, it took an element of Moonlighting, which was a show that involved two, like this kind of romantic tension. It was what got Bruce Willis to become a household name before Die Hard. it kind of took that element and it basically made it to where the couple never got together, but there was still so much romantic tension. And then of course you also have like the really creepy shit. Yes, it does heavily focus on aliens, but not as much as you think. Like I'm still in season 1, and there's maybe only been like 3 or 4 episodes that revolve around aliens. Almost everything else is like cloning, feral people. Um, I just finished an episode where this guy basically gets rejuvenated back to his youth, and then apparently he gets an arm cut off, and they try to regrow it with this new protein, but they have to share it with salamander protein. So he has a salamander hand, like a giant salamander hand. It's
So
actually
basically, everything's scientific and fiction.
yeah,
Basically,
it's X-Files. It's not just aliens. It's like all this stuff that's like, you could talk about Sasquatch. You could talk about fucking giant shit. You could talk about like all that type of stuff, and it's not just. Don't get me
It's
wrong,
probably
X-Files.
honestly where the craze of supernatural probably got a lot of their ideas was probably from X Files.
Supernatural got a lot of their ideas from demonic shit and folklore, Grimm's fairy tales, all that type of stuff, as well as the Bible. They took a lot from the Bible.
Well, yeah,
Um,
later on, but I'm talking about like in the beginning because a lot of that, like, there's a lot of similarities from what I've understood about the X Files
and
series.
Supernatural, you're talking about the first seasons?
About the first,
Kind of very creature of the week. What's weird shit are we gonna
yeah,
find?
the creature of the week type shit.
It
Before
was
they
it was
start
a,
doing
it was a
main
bad
story.
habit of a lot of shows that did that type
Yeah.
of stuff. I'd still argue that the first 5 seasons of Supernatural is some of the best television we've ever gotten. Afterwards, it's hit and miss. Don't get me wrong. I heard the ending is great. Like, and I've seen the ending. It's pretty well done. I like the ending. The ending is done incredibly well. It makes
Another one that kind of sort of deviated off that, I think, was the Grimm series, mainly because it was a detective
yeah.
as the main character. But I feel like the Grimm series came off more from Buffy than it did
Yeah.
X-Files.
I don't disagree with you on that. My biggest thing is I feel like if you want to go for a show that really went off of X-Files, Fringe.
Fringe was a good one.
Fringe
Yeah.
was you can tell it was very heavily inspired by X-Files.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong, you could
Yeah.
get that from Supernatural too.
I think Warehouse 13 also got
Warehouse
similar.
13 got a lot, but I think Warehouse 13 took more from X-Files and Fringe than it really did anything else. I'll tell you a show that I was actually very disappointed that got canceled because it was a very interesting show. They only got like 3 episodes and then it was canceled. Was Almost Human. Not Almost Human. No, it was like a futuristic cop show where there's an AI cop and there's a grizzled cop. It was actually fairly interesting. Like it only had like 3 episodes. It had Carl Urban in it. It's not Almost Human. Almost Human is a werewolf show. It was also a sci-fi show. I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I had to look it up, and I don't really like it. But anyways, so on to Ahsoka.
I think all of us have mixed feelings with the show, with the series, because I've had to, like, the last several series they have brought out with Star Wars have been either good, okay, or just plain just like big old disappointment and all together.
Yeah, like I would argue Book of Boba Fett was my biggest disappointment.
I thought the book
was okay. I can agree with that.
It really should have been called Fennec Shand because that's her show, if you wish to be technical. Like for the first half, it's really her show, and like, oh yeah, we get
Boba's
background.
there.
Yeah,
and
Boba's there, and then like the last 4 episodes become Mandalorian season 2.5. There's literally an entire episode that mostly focuses on Mando, and then Boba has no line in the entire episode. Not one line. He's just
that is important because if I do, it was supposed to focus on Boba Fett after what happened to him, and then everything else in the future.
Other problem I have is that Mandalorian takes place the first season of Mandalorian, and then I believe the second season only takes place like a year later, if that, like maybe a few months. The first season of Mandalorian takes place roughly 5 or
believe.
6 years after Return of the Jedi.
I don't think it's that far.
I think it might be 3 or 4.
So in the lore, when do they introduce the purge to the lore? Because the fact of it would have to do it after the purge of Mandalore, and then that's it.
Mandalore takes place in between Clone Wars and Rebels.
Well, then it wouldn't, because if it takes place in Clone Wars and Rebels, then it wouldn't take place. It would have to take place from around their time. Around time.
No.
The Purge of Mandalore takes place before. I think it's like in. I forget what exactly it is.
I believe it's midway through Rebels. I believe that's when the Siege of Mandalore takes place. I'm not fairly certain, but Book of Boba Fett at least takes place, I think, about a year and a half after Episode 6. Mandalorian takes place sometime like the year after Episode 6. I don't know. I could be getting my timelines wrong.
Yeah, the timelines with Star Wars is fucking crazy. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint.
It the shit out of me. So, because you got certain scenes that involve the fact that after the Empire got destroyed, and then you got scenes that show they're in the middle of the Empire still, and this is a whole.
So, here's a good example. Jedi Fallen Order takes place in 13 BBY, if I'm not mistaken.
Fallen Order takes place. I actually had this written down. Takes place about 10 years. It takes place 10 years after Order 66. That's when Fallen Order starts. Jedi Survivor takes place about 2 years.
Yes.
2 or 3 years
My bad.
after Fallen Order and 9 years before Battle of Yavin.
Yes, so that's what BBY stands for. Battle of Yavin. Before Battle of Yavin, which is essentially New Hope. That's what that Death Star battle was. That was the Battle of Yavin. So Jedi Survivor and Obi-Wan Kenobi take place in 9 BBY. They're in the same year. I find that hilarious. But yeah, they're in the same year. Isn't that funny? But getting off of Star Wars and going back to our own reality, well, kind of reality, it still involves Chris Hemsworth kicking ass. We have Extraction 2. The trailer actually came out, I believe, sometime in the last month. And yeah, I'm actually super excited about it. I mean, I enjoyed the first Extraction movie. It was a fun action movie. There was a really great one shot. Granted, I could tell where they were cutting the camera a lot because there's like, oh, we're focusing on this one thing that's moving. Oh wait, now there's a whole new set. It's like, okay, yeah, I can see where you're doing, but fine, whatever. You have really good action. Love the fight scenes in that movie. The story is kind of eh. I love I do like Chris Hemsworth's character. I do like what he does and everything else like that. There's some really good action in that movie, and I've
noticed.
Highly recommend it.
I've noticed with a lot of like really action heavy movies, the story seems really lack.
John Wick, I've actually heard somebody complain about it. Not complain. They said there's a reason why they will never watch any of the other John Wicks is because they feel like the action set pieces overtake the story, or they try to overcomplicate the story to where you can't follow it and you're just there for the action sequences. But either way, the action sequences still take the main focus. And I would say, and I told them, yes, that is exactly what it does, because it does overcomplicate the story. They try to add so much lore into it, but it's still just a cool idea. Yeah, it takes a back seat to all the action and everything else like that. I mean, shit, I would not have these coins right here if I wasn't a fan of John Wick. I would not have every single John Wick movie, except for the fourth one, obviously, on Steelbook if I wasn't a John Wick fan. I love these movies. These movies are phenomenal. But if I had to be like, are they fucking, the greatest storytelling of all time? No, obviously not. They're just they're fun action movies, and that's where I bump in Extraction. Extraction is a fun action movie. The story is but it's still a good forgettable. It's a forgettable story, but it's still a good action movie.
Maybe
That is
that's
I
all
where
I will say.
maybe that's my kind of reason for not having watched John Wick, because I like a good storytelling movie,
And that's the
and a lot,
exact conversation I had with this other person.
yeah.
yeah.
Which,
They
I don't
like
know.
yeah,
Honestly,
again, to
with the
each
first
their
I
own
don't.
when it comes to movies. But like,
well, and that's the thing is like I feel that if you can know that going forward, that yes, there is a story there, but yes, they overcomplicate it with a lot of the lore and everything else like that,
mhm,
and that's fine. If you just put that in the back of your brain, you'll be okay. I think you
yeah,
will enjoy the movie. I really do. I think you'll enjoy them just because there are some really well done action scenes in these movies.
mhm.
So, arguably, I would say the best action scenes are in the fourth one because the fourth one, holy shit,
The fourth one was really fucking good.
good ass
I
action in that
enjoyed it. That
movie.
camera was awesome. I
Oh
love the
yeah,
fourth.
yeah. I enjoy the hell out of the fourth. I'm gonna get that on Steelbook as well, just to have the whole set. And somebody, one of my other buddies, his name's Benji. He actually, hey, shout out Benji. He was actually on one of the Snowda reels that we did a while back. I will send a plug somewhere. Yeah, yeah. If you want to look for it, I believe it's like the second or third episode. What
I
is
believe it was
your
the second. I believe it
yeah?
was the
What do you
second one.
consider a modern horror masterpiece? That is the exact title of the episode. Um, so yeah, you have that, and he wants to get the John Wick. He wants to get a whole set on Steelbook whenever it comes out, and I'm like, yes, I'm right there with you because I would still want to have
Yeah,
my Steelbooks, but I would get a whole set of Steelbooks too. So there's that as well.
the collector's box set whenever it comes
Yeah,
out
yeah, exactly. All on Steelbook at Best Buy. I'll buy that
for like
wholeheartedly in a heartbeat.
$200.
So speaking of stories taking a back seat, a writer's strike, one of the most massive ones since I believe '03. I believe was the year that the
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this is actually going on, and a lot of people are worried now for a lot of their TV shows and stuff like that that
Mhm.
this might delay Stranger Things season 5, all that other shit. And it's like, look, I get that, but if you want to talk about one of the most underpaid and you know, under fucking appreciated group of people in Hollywood, it is your writers. Don't get me wrong. There's
Uh-huh.
plenty of them, the ones that do get
From
work. Like, how the fuck do you have a job? But there's others where it's like, why are you not getting paid more?
Yeah, from my understanding and what I've read into a little bit, it has to deal with writers for streaming services and writers for movies and TV
Yeah, there's
that
a
are
there's
not on streaming. That's the big issue.
you can get
Uh,
more money for a show that is not on streaming because of legal loopholes. They're actually technically they'll get paid anywhere from $5 to $10 an episode for a streaming
mhm.
service, and then they don't get any residuals from that.
Yeah, um, which is really messed up. Like I
That's
see,
super messed up. Yeah,
we lost Gallows.
that we did. But continue.
um, I actually saw like a few tweets come in and out. Sam Riegel holding signs. A couple other people from the Vox Machina, which awesome for them. I'm
Yeah, absolutely.
great for them to be a part of that. Like they're amazing storytellers in their own right.
Right, exactly.
So I'm hoping that it's resolved as soon as possible because I forget who said, but you can't have good dialogue or good story without having your writers,
Right.
and they're like the backbone of everything you're gonna work on, TV, movie, whatever.
Precisely.
Which is crazy, especially with hopefully we do a part 2 about this, but Lewis and I and our buddy Clover did a whole segment on the Power Rangers series, all 30 years, because the 30th anniversary came up
Right.
while our break was going on. It turns out that the Once and Always film time 12 days.
No.
Yeah. 12
Holy
12
shit.
fucking days, dude.
That's
And
crazy.
Yeah, it's
What
crazy.
they shoot is like a typical episode of a TV show.
Yeah.
If that, honestly.
Yeah, they were only given like 12 days of shooting from what I've looked up and what other people are saying. But in all honesty, for them to pull together a 55-minute special for a 30th anniversary,
Mm-hmm.
12 fucking days was pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah, the fact that they got it as good as they did. I mean, that's insane.
The
Don't get me wrong.
only
If there's anything I would argue has some weaker acting, it would be Power Rangers. I'm not saying all of it. I'm just saying there's some pretty weak acting in some of that. Let's be perfectly honest.
agree. I full-heartedly agree on that. There have
That's
been
part of the charm.
some seasons that like their acting is just terrible.
Yeah, but that's part of the charm.
But
especially in the first show. The first show, oh my god.
Oh yeah,
some of those movies.
What was great about this? It was people coming back for this special, and they didn't skip a beat. It was like when you're
like
watching
stepping back into an old pair of shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone was just spot on, and all that. Hopefully, I'll try to get a hold of Lewis, see if we do a part 2 of a spoiler view of the.
Oh yeah, no. If you guys want to do a Snowda reel of a spoiler review, go right ahead.
Yeah,
I want to do one for Guardians 3 whenever I have enough people that have seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, I think I can give you a website where you can watch it for not legal reasons, but for legal reasons, I'm not going to say anything. So,
I might be able to watch it on the one where I watched Honor Among Thieves, which
that was let me see if it's. We'll see if it's we'll see if it's the whole thing. And I would love to do a spoiler review with you guys on that.
Oh
sure.
Yeah.
I want to get Lewis involved. I definitely want to get for sure. I want to get Lewis involved, and I definitely want to get Anara involved on that one.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
I feel like all four of us would do a really good job with Honor.
We do want to do another D&D reel that we did one with Allie.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not sure when that one's coming out, but
yeah. Oh, so Lewis has it recorded and everything.
Yeah, we have it recorded. We did that one and the Power Rangers one, I believe, the same day.
Okay.
So we were busy.
The D&D one has not been uploaded. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll ask him to send it to me in some way, shape, or form, and we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. That being said, do you guys have any Snowda quicks that you want to talk about? I got nothing, honestly. I think I talked about all I need to talk about.
Much other than like right now, the biggest thing right now is Jedi Survivor and
the June 2nd we got the Spider-Man movie coming out on June 2nd. So
June 2nd, yeah, but that's just one of those things. Is like we'll talk about it when it comes out.
Yeah, there hasn't been like. At least to me, I didn't really see much going on, and it's probably honestly because of the writer's strike. That's probably why.
I mean, you get horror in exorcism horror movie films. You got the Pope Exorcist.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay.
I didn't get a chance to go see it. I saw Evil Dead instead.
Yeah.
I like my demonic. I like my demonic possession shit to have a shitload of gore and chainsaws. I'm sorry. Who the fuck are you?
It stays true to the whole exorcism bullshit that happened.
Here's the thing: is the Pope's Exorcist, from what I gathered from the trailers and a couple other reviews, it is really supposed to be about, kind of, sort of, about the original, what the Exorcist is based off of. That exorcism is kind of, sort of, what it's meant to be about. Well, I've also been told it's in modern day as well.
No, it's in 1982. It's in like the 1980s. Yeah. So you watch it. It's from 1979 to 1983.
Okay.
And it's following the Pope's exorcist because the Pope had died, had given the spot to a high-ranking exorcist.
Yeah, exactly. I know the gist of the trailer. I just didn't know the time frame.
Yeah.
Okay,
then there's another one coming out that it's called a reboot, but they have the mother from the original Exorcist film.
Yeah, it's the requel trilogy, if you wish to be technical. it's Blumhouse's next. It's David Gordon Green's next project after doing the Halloween stuff, and he said that he does want to make this relatively different. So we're gonna have 2 possessed kids. That was another thing that was in CinemaCon. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Universal brought that up with Blumhouse's section, so that's awesome. I'm super pumped about that because while I argue Halloween didn't end the best, I feel like if you're gonna do that particular type of movie, it should have been not the finale. If it wasn't the finale, it would have been perfectly fine. I think it would have been way better received. I've been like, oh, that's an interesting element to kind of take from it. And it's like, I can't wait to see how they're going to wrap it up. It's like, no, that would have been a good like follow up after Halloween Kills, and then kind of be like, all right, now we're getting into the finale. This is going to be gritty. It's going to be real. I'm like, perfect. That would have been awesome. But that's besides the point. It was still different enough. I'm like, okay, you did it. You did what you wanted to do. Perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fuck up with The Exorcist. Do not fuck up with The Exorcist. Now,
they already done that with the second movie. Then nobody wants a repeat of the second movie.
Well, yeah, the second movie is absolute dog shit. There is one problem I have though, because they're cutting out everything minus the first one. There is one thing that everybody sleeps on that I am sad to see go. Exorcist 3 is probably one of the best sequels to any movie I have ever seen. Like when it comes to horror, one of the best sequels, because Exorcist 3 doesn't say shit about Exorcist 2. And it is basically a direct follow-up with none of the other characters except for one from the first Exorcist. I'm not even going to say who it is.
Interesting.
Highly, if you find a chance to watch it, watch Exorcist 3. I think you'll like it because it is done incredibly well. It is a slow burn. It's almost a murder mystery. It is so well done.
Murder mysteries usually have pretty good stories. I like myself a good murder mystery now and then.
Also, you have Brad Dourif and George C. Scott. Need I say more?
Yeah. For the longest time, I actually didn't like. I remember watching the original Exorcist when I was little, which I shouldn't have, but I did anyway. But
I would argue it would traumatize a little kid, but
yes, it would. Yes, it would. But for the longest time, I actually didn't know they made sequels after that Exorcist movie.
Well, to be fair, they were all direct to DVD.
That was
I think the third one had a theatrical release.
Yeah, I think I didn't really know till maybe about I want to say 3 months ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it would have been
I think there's only 2 extra sequels. I don't think there's another. There's like another one that tried to do the reboot route, and I didn't see it. Like here's the thing. In my head, it's Exorcist and Exorcist 3. Those are the only ones that exist. Fuck off.
The only other
they introduced the series of different Exorcist movies that came out over the years. So you got
seeing,
stuff like that.
Leon's been trying to
I remember seeing Exorcist of Emily Rose. That was one of them that I saw.
Exorcism, that was really good.
All right. It wasn't too great. It was kind of niche, but it wasn't too bad. The story was...
That's the one where it starts with the court case of the priest who apparently wrongfully killed her, like got her killed, basically. That's Emily Rose, right?
I believe so. It's been a long time since I've watched it.
I know Haunting in Connecticut is considered one of the best haunting movies of all time, or like one of the best possession movies of all time.
I think it is.
Definitely.
I fully believe
before the movie came out, I actually watched the documentary of that, and then I watched the movie. To be honest, the documentary scared me more than the movie did.
The movie's more cinematic, but yeah, no, the documentary... Oh, you want to talk about... you can go into whole other stuff with that. But I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So... Well, we're back, baby. Don't worry about it. We're going to try to keep it more consistent this time. This has been the Snodacast, episode 9. I have been your host, BlackShat56. I have been joined by DJ Lionheart, a.k.a. Leon.
Stay nerdy.
And, of course, Gallows, a.k.a. Thomas.
Yo, see you later.
Once again, I have been BlackShat56, and we will see you all later. Oh, and one more thing. We're professionals.
We did all right today. But
hey, we actually did do a really good job today. Not a lot of pauses. Not a lot of, tangents, but yeah. Again, professionals. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next week.